Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Jordan and Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know.
Jordan
and Keith. From pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. This is the best of episode. Today, the boys are going to talk to you guys about Beyonce's Lemonade, Drake's Views, and YG Still Brazy. You're not going to want to miss this episode, so please stick around.
Let's start off with Drake. So, that album was a long time in the making, a long time in the coming. So It's finally here.
And this podcast was a long time in the coming. I'm glad we can finally talk this one through.
Yes. So, views on the six, or views, whatever you want to call it. For me, what I noticed about Drake, I had to realize is that I can't, with the exception of Thank Me Later, I can't just listen to him one time to get it. Because I realized that he's a lot more layered than I thought. So I had to listen to him a few times, and I like the album a lot. I think it's cool.
I like it a lot too, but before I get into it, I just want to mention this funny thing.
Yes.
These are my views on Views from the Six. Okay. Now,
hate it.
So Jordan is a bad influence on you already, man. I don't like this, man. Go ahead.
What I love about Drake, and what I've continued to love about Drake since my favorite album though was Nothing Was the Same. Including this album, but this one, in my opinion, was a step up from If You're Reading This, It's Too Late.
I still gotta get that record.
Get it. It's worth it.
Okay.
But what I love about Drake, and this album totally carried that trend to a totally new level for me, was he does push to be different.
You think so?
Yeah, his cadence. Think of the song Hype. That beat almost sounds like a slowed down version of a toy that you kind of crank in the little, like a Jack in the Box,
Okay,
and
all right.
His cadence of his rhymes are different than what you're normally what you're used to hearing. Do you know what I mean? They're offbeat, and the tone of his voice drops down as he goes through his rhymes, and then he does it again and again, and that's just something totally new to me. And I think that the innovation is something that people appreciate.
Always, you always want your, you always want your favorite rapper to be innovative, or the rapper that you like a lot, who's doing things to be innovative and keep your attention. So
Exactly. I feel like hip hop was in a big lull, and the reason that it's really popped back up in the recent years is because these new rappers are straying from tradition. Think of Kendrick Lamar's, his rapping style. It's unlike somebody else, right?
Exceptional.
Exactly.
It is.
But it's also different.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's almost abstract, too, in a jazz kind of way.
Abstract is the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Drake's could be considered abstract, but it is kind of pushing the limit.
He intertwines or interweaves between self-reflection and introspection.
Right.
Supremely.
Yes.
What I was going to say, what I like about Drake, what I finally noticed about him is that, for me, he seems to be the first rapper in the mainstream in a long time, maybe since LL, I don't know, that, he's 80% to 85% of his records are about a relationship with some lady or ladies. He's always in the issues that he has with them or with himself with them.
Yeah.
And I love that about him, because I don't hear other rappers taking that perspective. None of them, the way that he does.
You know what I love about it? I kind of agree, but my favorite thing about Drake is when you listen to his songs, even the songs that aren't on his albums but that he's featured, one kind of, the message that he tends to carry all the time is that sense of, like, I'm the man-ness, like, I can do it. I love that. I love that kind of self-empowerment.
I can see that. I mean, I think Drake has this ability to kind of create a mass appeal, no matter, where he's what direction he's moving in a song, because you have so many people that would strictly stick to the underground, and they'll still just find so much to love about Drake. And you'll have some people that would never listen to anything other if it wasn't top 40, and yet they're still going to know who Drake is. They're still going to love his songs, and his songs have an ability to kind of touch people on a different level.
Exactly.
And that's one thing I think that's how he really pulls that off. How he's able to get that mass appeal, where you go from something that you can listen to and it's that's fun, that's kind of poppy.
Exactly. I think Drake taps into a motivation for a lot of people, like little things he says that are kind of self-empowering. You know, like I like 10 bands. You know, my ex asked where you move, and I said on to better things. Like you know, things that it's like he decides. You know what? No, I'm the one who's better off. I'm the one who's in charge. I'm the one making moves. And people, when they listen, can't help but relate. Yeah, for me, I listened to it, and it was hard to just immediately have that effect I didn't have that effect that Drake usually had on me, where I just kind of immediately just relate to everything on such a personal level. Now, as I listened to it, there were a few songs that kind of really did it for me. There were a few that kind of stood out, but for a majority of the album, it felt like a very shallow listen at first. You know, I did have to listen a couple more times to really instantly get it, and that just may be me. I still enjoyed it. It wasn't like it was a bad album, like something I wouldn't listen to. It's just something that, you know, when you hear that right song and it has that right effect to you.
You have been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Best of Music episode. Up next, Jordan and Keith are going to talk to you guys about Beyonce's Lemonade.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
I loved it. I loved it way more than I thought I was going to like. I liked it more than I thought I was going to like it. And I loved it more than I thought was possible to love this Beyonce album.
I know, man. I know. I'm with you, man. When I saw the video for Formation, I had a good feeling about the new album before it came out. And it was just a pleasant surprise. I really enjoyed the record too. But go ahead. What were you saying about it?
Well, I really think about the same thing. I could just reiterate. The thing was, I was going in there ready to just kind of go, a Beyonce album. I'm going to have a couple of good tracks
It's
here.
going to suck. It's going to have 2 or 3 good tracks, and you're not going to like it. You were thinking that.
You dragged me in. I was there kicking and screaming, but I really enjoyed it. And I ended up listening to the whole album without realizing I listened to the whole album, which is a huge testament.
She came with it. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. If I had if I had it on repeat, I would have never realized her. I think at least 2.5 more times, because it was consistently catchy, and a lot of it was just. I felt like I can't believe this is Beyonce making this. There's a lot of different varieties of just kind of stylings in the album, and all of it was just incredibly expressive, and at the same time just being really fun to listen to.
I think this is the first Beyonce album I've bought since her first one. Her very first solo album. And I think for me, and the reason why that was is because, I think she's a great singer, a great entertainer. It's just that a lot of times I felt like she would only have a good 3 or 4 songs, and maybe the industry or management was like, or the record label was like, well, we just want you, we need to have 3 good singles, and everything else is whatever. I mean, maybe that conversation was had, maybe it wasn't. I don't know what it was. I mean, but I always felt like, okay, she's great. Give me the whole enchilada. Just don't give me a small mini taco. You know, when it comes to the record. And she gave me the whole enchilada and a super burrito with this record. The only thing that puzzled me is why is the album called Lemonade? Because usually when you name an album, you usually have a song off that album with the name, but not always. That's not always the industry standard rule.
Up next, we're going to hear a little bit about YG Still Brazy.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Glad to be here. Hey Keith.
Hey.
Hey Mariano.
Oh, I'm so ready for this right now.
All right, me too. So you guys know what's coming. This is going to be YG Still Brazy. I guess spoiler, I really loved this album. This was so good.
Ooh.
I was listening to it, and as you guys know how sound travels to other things, right?
Yeah.
As I was listening to it, my girlfriend stopped me and said, "Hey, what is that? Oh my God, that sounds really good. YG, I think I like YG now." Another stranger saying, somebody I don't even know that happened to. It's just a thing. It's a really, really good album.
Yeah, I mean, I like the album and I don't like the album. I'm mixed on it, but
oh no, okay.
No, I mean, because so there's songs that I don't like, and there are other songs that I thought were great, and he had me laughing. But the way he ended the album, yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth picking up. I mean, yeah, I like it. There's some things, like I said, that I didn't like, but there are other things that I did like. So it's like a balance for me. So I'm glad I listened to it because he had some nice surprises for me. But there are some things that he could. I see his potential, and I see there's some things I want to see him grow with lyrically in regards to his view on women, keeping it real. But there are some other things that he addressed that was very funny. I liked his vocabulary. I liked that he was making up his own vocabulary. But you were going to tell me something about that, Mariano, what he's doing?
That's a blood thing. That's a. First of all, let me just say, without overselling this album, this just dethroned Ro James's album. Is my favorite that we've done so far.
Oh my! Well, it's kind of like apples and oranges. One's hip hop and one is not, though.
Yeah,
bro.
but one you have to understand too. See, and I'm from
Jordan's
LA.
Got into your head.
No. And understand, this isn't a Jordan. Like I'm from LA. I'm from Southgate, which is right near Compton, and it's you get kind of that nostalgia like we were talking about earlier, and it's. It's still Brazy because he's a blood. And in Compton, the blood thing is Bompton. It's, you change C's for B's. And it...
I love that. I think that's cool.
The rebirth of a Compton rapper. Like last time, it was the Chi-Town rappers, and they've been pretty strong.
Right.
So to see Compton rappers come back and put out a good album is like, yes,
and he did say he's the only one to make it without the help of Dre.
Exactly.
I thought that was cool.
That's true.
Yeah.
I respect the... It's not like disrespectful, but I respect like the competition there. Like, hey Dre, like I didn't need you. Not that and the features were good. He had Drake, he had Lil Wayne.
He did enough on this record where I can't say don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean he got me. He still pulled me in. He's a clever guy.
No,
he
did
pulled
enough.
me in.
He did enough on this record, especially with in reference to like Donald Trump.
FDT.
Yeah, nothing.
That was dope. Because that's towards the end.
Exactly.
I didn't even see that coming. I'm like, with the intro. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Not even just that, but this album, I think, is going to turn out to be way more important than I think in the future this is going to be up there with like the Chronic in terms of Compton rappers because of not only what he talks about, but he talks about kind of unifying with Mexicans in terms of like being treated unfairly, and then puts on Sad Boy in the next song, and Sad Boy goes off on his verse, and I'm like, wow,
and you don't really see rappers doing that.
Right, as funny as it sounds,
bridging the gap like that.
Exactly. Well, as funny as it
culturally
sounds,
speaking, yeah.
True, but he was the first one I've seen that will say something and then is actually immediately about his word, and he puts on a Mexican rapper.
Yeah.
So how can that not be such an important statement just in terms of where we are as a culture right now?
Well, he basically said in this song, "I got love for for the Mexicans."
Exactly, but then puts a Mexican on.
Yeah.
A lot of them say, "I've got love for the Mexicans." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is like when I heard that Sad Boy was on this album, I was actually bathing my dogs at the time, and I stopped and was like, "Is that?"
So can you tell people? So can you tell me who that person is? Because I never really heard of that.
Sad Boy.
Yeah,
he's another SoCal rapper, but he's Mexican, and he's
got bars.
You know what? Usually, I'm not a fan of like Mexican rappers because they switch from English to Spanish, and I think that's kind of cheating. Because like
Not necessarily.
No, I mean
because you want people to understand.
Right, and
it,
I understand the culture, and I speak Spanish too. But it's just
Right.
like if you need two languages, like if you got bars in English and in Spanish, good. But if you have to start a sentence in one and finish in the other, that was less than impressive to me.
But that's to get me to buy it along with you to buy it.
I understand that, but
So,
it's just my opinion. It's like, but if you can kill it in English and then in Spanish, you're good.
You're pretty-
And Sad
pretty
Boy,
dope. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Sad Boy was dope in that song.
Okay.
Was he not?
Yeah,
Right?
He
He
was
was.
good.
He was great,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Honestly,
He was
there
cool.
wasn't a song that I was like really, I felt like skipping through.
Right.
I could just keep replaying this
Sad
whole
Boys-
album, and then if someone else is
Okay.
in the room, I'll be,
All right.
hold on 1 second, don't talk, I'm listening to this album. Just
Sad
All right.
Boy's verse.
You
Can I
gotta
say Sad
feel.
Boy's verse I like better than Drake's verse in the other song?
really.
See?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I gotta agree with that too.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Sad Boy went on. And Sad Boy goes off if you haven't heard some of his music. And,
Really?
But just the fact that he's on YG's album, I would never expect that.
Right. Well, I guess they're homies.
When was the last time you heard a Mexican feature on an African American guy's rap album?
I haven't.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, or any Latin rap.
Right,
I
and
haven't.
right before,
just think of
in the
Cypress
song
Hill
right
things.
before that, he
Yeah.
says, like, let's all come together, and he actually is about it.
Yeah, so-
Everybody says, let's come together.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he definitely put you in his world.
Exactly.
He drew a great picture. My favorite song, "Give Me Got Shot." That's my.
Yeah, you know what? Me too, actually. No, I don't know about my favorite song, but I like the
I like "Gimme Got Shot"
I like
a
the
lot.
message of "Gimme Got Shot."
Oh yeah, yeah. He got me good with that one.
Yeah.
I like it. But bold, bomb, selective. I
Yep.
mean, I love his vocabulary. Thank you for recognizing the blood.
Yeah. It's a blood thing, yeah.
But I still like it because you're making your own words up.
Exactly.
I like that.
Well, I like
So-
it more because, like, not so much the creativity. I like it because of the declaration.
But I think that the song
It's not
had
Compton,
like
it's Bompton.
Blacks and Browns featuring Sad Boy.
the song had a lot of things
Good.
that you could say could be anthems for whatever moment, whatever message that you want to give out. The song is something that would fit it really well. But beyond that, there is creativity pouring out of every track.
Exactly.
Well, and Who Shot Me was great too. I like
Right.
that, especially the end of that song.
You see what I'm saying?
I mean,
'Cause
since Don't Come to
gets-
LA,
he
I
gets-
was already.
Do you,
I didn't like that one that much. Though. I'm like,
do you see what I'm saying? That the
Did
more
you like
you
Don't Come to LA?
don't come to LA,
Yeah.
I think people should come to LA. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That's why.
Sad Boy was in it.
I didn't dislike it, but I can't really think of too many of its bars right now, so I didn't love it.
Okay, yeah.
Like, it's not popping out right
Oh,
now.
I like
it was
Twist My
one of the
Fingers,
opening
too.
songs. I like
Yeah.
Twist My Fingers
Yeah,
a
he said,
lot.
"Do your dance, YG. Do your dance." I like that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you agree that this is one of those albums that the more you talk about it and the more you think about it, you're like, oh, you know what?
I'm
I
gonna
think
buy
that
it.
this
Yeah, I
album,
like it.
maybe at first glance, a lot of people won't get it just yet, but I think like in 25 years' time, when we look back at the...
I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to get it both. I
No,
think,
of course, but I think like in like 25 years' time or more, when a lot of people think back of, who carried Compton, it's going to be NWA, Dr. Dre, The Game, YG,
And don't forget Kendrick.
Kendrick.
Kind of a
This
big
list is
deal.
still pending, yeah.
Kind of a big deal.
I don't know. Kendrick came on strong for me, and his albums have been getting a little weirder and weirder, like harder for me to get into.
Me, I love
I would
Kendrick, but yeah.
encourage you to go back to him later and listen again.
Okay.
I think Kendrick Lamar's records will be studied in the future.
I think
Okay.
so. And we talked about that in the last
Yeah.
episode.
You know what? Actually,
He's not a legend, but he's on his way. At this rate,
I think he's gonna
building
reach
that
legend
momentum.
status.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know just yet if YG is a future legend, but this I think is a legendary album.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, though.
And I forgot Tupac. Sorry, Tupac.
Right, well, of course.
Well, if I had to pick a top 5, then I probably would put Kendrick and leave out YG. But if I'm picking 5 albums, it'd be like The Chronic, Tupac's the first Machiavelli album.
Really?
Yeah, I liked Kendrick's. Well, think about what they talk about is what I'm saying. Now, I mean, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't like the best lyrically or whatever, but we're talking in terms of the Compton culture of people who are in LA. Which would they take the most pride in? And what's more infamous than Compton's? Than The Chronic anyway.
Well, yeah. I'll say this though. I mean, because would you consider this record like basically like gangster rap? Still,
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but I think it does. I think
I'm
it
not trying to
definitely
over-
is, but I think it transcends in a lot of different
I'm not
directions.
trying to oversimplify. I'm not saying that's all it is.
No,
I'm
of
just
course
saying, but it's rare for me to have gangster rappers that I like a lot.
You see what I'm saying?
But yeah, he's on my radar now.
Right. He's declarative.
He's
right?
on my radar now.
And I don't
He
think
is.
that this was. I don't think
Compton
that this
is
was just gangster rap though. Like, and I know what you
Well,
mean. Like that, you can kind of classify it as that. But
Yeah, and
to me, I think
and
that
I'm not-
there's so
I'm not
many things you
reducing
can
him to just
classify.
that. Yeah,
No,
I'm not
yeah,
trying to
he's
reduce
not- he's
him.
not
to
And I know you're not necessarily reducing it, but I think that I think that he's so much more broad, even just from initially. I mean, you can call him gangster rap, but you can also call him just a critical thinker too. I mean,
I think he has the potential to be a critical thinker. I don't see that yet.
And I'm not saying like potential. On par with like Kendrick Lamar, but I mean, his flows went just as well with his lyrics. Like, you can pay attention to the lines; they were really good. You can pay attention to like the song; they just worked well together.
Here's like I said, go ahead.
Sorry. Here's my thing: is think of historical Compton rappers. They don't need to. Not that they're not, but Dr. Dre is not the best lyricist, you know. But what they talk about, the content, is always good.
Yeah.
And this album was full of content, and it was full of him backing up his content. And that's why I liked it so much. I think that's why it'll be just a great LA album.
Like I said, I definitely do recommend the record. He paints a very vivid picture with broad strokes.
Exactly.
So he gives you that picture. He takes you into his world. Not saying he doesn't, because he does that. He does that convincingly. Like, so my only complaint would be, like, I think there's some, in regards to women, I think there could be a lot of lyrical maturity that still needs to happen. Mm-hmm. But the other issues that he tackled, I think were great.
Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Best of Music episode. You can find us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Golden State Media Concepts podcast.com. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.